Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gingereno's Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity. I'm your host, Eric, otherwise known as Gingereno. I host the World of Eora podcast, which is a news and lore podcast for the Pillars of Eternity games, as well as Obsidian Entertainment's upcoming release, Avowed. The reason that we mix Avowed and Pillars of Eternity together is because they share the same fantasy world of Eora. And so if you're hyped for Avowed, and you're really looking forward to it, and you want to learn more about the world, but, you know, games like Pillars of Eternity, these CRPG-style games, they're just not your type, not your thing. This Let's Play is primarily for you. This is a way for you to get first-hand, well, I guess second-hand experience in the world, and learn the narratives and the story the way the developers revealed it in Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2. As well, if you're a huge Pillars of Eternity nerd like myself, this is just a way to revisit some stories that we love, to take a look at the world, relive some of those moments without having to go through the entire game again, although I'm sure many of us would like to replay it. Anyways, so we're going to get started on this next episode. Alright, now so a couple quick things before we get started. Since this is largely expositional, I do have it on storytime mode. I'm not going to be focusing on like how to do the best combat and stuff like that, or how to play the game for a Path of the Damned run, which is the hardest difficulty.
Of course.
I'm primarily going to be showing you guys the story and things that are going on. I'll give you guys little pieces of lore as we go through, things that I can point out, so little extra tidbits of the knowledge about the game world. As well, just so you're aware, in this top right corner, there might be a little banner that pops up, and that will give developer commentary on the game from the people who made this game at Obsidian. I'm not aware if any or some of it will have spoilers, so if you are worried about having the narrative spoiled for you ahead of time, when you see that little flag up in the top right corner, just skip ahead a little bit until it's not there anymore. Other than that, yeah, we're just going to go into it. So this is my main character here. And this is the rest of my party. I just got Sagani, a ranger, with her pet fox, Itamak. And we are here at Aelduan Bridge trying to get into Defiance Bay City so that we can learn what it means that my character is a watcher and how we can stop madness from setting in now that my soul has been awakened and I'm starting to experience and remember my past lives. Because the world of AR runs on reincarnation. Now, before we get started, I always like to start off going into the encyclopedia of the game and looking at a piece of lore from something that we've been experiencing or talking about in the narrative. I think, because last time I ran into a bunch of spiders. I want to read the description for a spear spiderling, see what we can find in here. Alright, so this is a spear spiderling. It's an enemy that you can fight against. I've only fought 3 of them. Here's all the statistics that you can learn about them so far. And this is their description. Due to spear spiders' speed and unique method of attack, very brave or very foolish swordsmen and women, particularly members of the Fangs, have traditionally fought them for sparring practice. The Fangs, if I'm remembering correctly, are a faction at Twin Elms, which is a location that we will unlock later. Today, this tradition is hardly followed by any but most rustic and rugged warriors in training. The spear spider is also known as one of the boldest arachnid hunters, as it tends to rely less on its web and more on its barbed legs to capture prey. As a result, the species ventures further from its nest than most other spiders. Cool. I really appreciate how, like, Obsidian has these different kinds of beasts, and they have separate lore for each of them, and I really like that. And the fact that the story behind the spear spiders, they're used for sparring practice with the Fangs clan, is fantastic. Alright.
As you wish.
The Bridge District was pretty straightforward and simple. Just create a cool and impressive looking entrance to Defiance Bay. It also serves as a nice transition between all that wilderness and a bustling city.
Cool. That's developer commentary. I zoom right in so you can look at all the lovely characters in this game. Welcome to Defiance Bay, but watch yourself in our city, understand? Yes, I'm sure that's what a guard sounds like. Alright, so this whole city here is Defiance Bay. We're going to enter into the Copper Lane district. this actually used to be called New Dunnard back when the colony of the Deerwood, which is this whole area, back when this was still an Adieran colony before Deerwood achieved its independence, this was called New Dunnard. Yeah, so let's go to Copperlane.
Defiance Bay, the city at the heart of the Deerwood's revolution, now seems on the brink of another. Refugees line the streets, homeless and hungry, displaced by Whiteone's legacy, hoping for relief within the city walls, and finding none. Dissidents congregate to protest and to heckle, calling for an end to animancy and the ouster of their duke. The city's militiamen cast fearful looks as they patrol the streets, their hands trembling at the hilts of their weapons. The capital of a country that had not long ago incinerated a god now appears to be a spark away from sharing the deity's fate.
There's a lot of lore that was kind of put in there. One, Widewind's Legacy is the name that's attributed to what's called the Hollowborn Crisis. Essentially, there are children all over the Deerwood right now being born without souls, and that's a huge problem because without souls, they're not really alive. As well, there was something mentioned there about ousting animancy. There's a lot of tension around the science of animancy right now, which is the study of essence, the building block material for souls. And lastly, the capital of a country that not long ago considered a god is a piece of history in the Deerwood where Saint Widewin came from another place known as Rayad Saris, and he was inhabited, supposedly, by the god Aethys, and they were running a religious war against Deerwood. And a bunch of Magran priests discovered a way to create a bomb that would both destroy Widewin, the body, and Aethys inside as well. So supposedly, Magranites have destroyed a god. That's what this means. All right. Now, let's see what I am supposed to be doing. Go to my journal. Go to my quests. I am not going to be doing side quests on purpose because the point of this is about showing you the world. And while you can learn some stuff in the world there, I want to just give you the main quest. That way, if anyone decides they are into the game, they want to play themselves, there's stuff that you can still do. So I need to go to the Temple of Woedica. That's what I need to be doing. So we got to find where that is.
Those walls surround the whole city?
We have a protest here, protesting animancy. People are not a fan.
The exterior of Copperlane was drastically revised quite some time after its initial creation. At first it was just a bunch of buildings and endless cobblestone streets. It was pretty hard to tell where you were since everything looked samey and boring. Fortunately, we knew everything looked better with water, so time was made in the schedule and the canals were added.
Cool. Alright, what's this here? I can go to my map, and I can check out this goose and fox. Probably. Ooh, and I can check this out here. Yep, named Goose and Fox. Ah, tavern. Welcome to Goose and Fox.
Gods keep you.
The man behind the bar is nearly the size of an amawa. A handle protrudes from his back, and his face is set in a stoic frown. He gives you a small nod. Here for a drink? There's a tiny pewter cup in front of him. He turns it into one broad hand, but doesn't drink it. Tell me about yourself. Name's Bishop. Used to be a scholar of Barath. Now I run the Goose and Fox and keep the regulars in line. He shifts, and you see a warhammer strapped to his back. What more is there to tell? How'd you go from religion to taverns? The journey isn't as long as you'd think. I had started with the Hallborn, and with this. He takes a black bottle from under the bar and fills the pewter cup. It was my sister's son. He takes a drink. At the beginning of Widewind's legacy, he was one of the first. I never expected there would be so many after him. Tragedy is part of the cycle, but followed by rebirth. Yet every year more parents were grieving for their Hollowborn children, and the gods fell silent. So you lost your faith. He leans forward, crossing his arms on the bar. Bareth promises rebirth, cycles, but the only cycle I found was this one, and he taps on the bar. Have a drink, have another, and another, till I couldn't remember how I got home. Wake up, come back. I finally woke up one day to see my family had packed up and left. For all I know, they'd left days before, and I just hadn't noticed. They were all gone, so I came here. I've cleaned up since then, not that I found my answers. He tosses the cup back. I've just stopped asking questions. Yeah, cool. Goodbye. Well, I thought maybe when entering here, there would be some hints as to where to go. Ah. Kainra. A woman sits by herself, spinning something on the table in front of her, and watching it with furious intensity. It's about the size of a coin, and it wobbles over a crack in the wood with metallic rattle. She snatches it up with one hand and slams a half-empty cup down on the table with the other. This is not a good time. What are you doing here? She takes a long drink from her glass. Just trying to calm down, trying to talk myself out of something foolish. Something foolish? She says nothing for a few moments, as if hoping you'll leave. At last, Kainra looks up at you. A lamplight falls across her face. A purpling bruise is blossoming along her cheekbone. There's something I need to give to my fiancé, Pernish. Only he doesn't seem to go anywhere without his new friends, and they're not exactly pleasant company. Tell me about these new friends. They come into our house with their dead eyes and their black teeth. I'm not a fool, I know what it means. Pernish makes me leave when they show up, but it's obvious what they came to do. Last time they came, I told them to get out. Let them have their fun somewhere in the gift, not under my roof. She scowls and then winces, her fingertips gently probing her bruise. The gift is another region of the city. Svef changes you, I guess. The Pernish I knew wouldn't have squashed a spider. I never thought he'd... She trails off, still feeling the swollen, discolored flesh. I thought Svef just made people lay around and not do much. Kainra shrugs. I really don't know. Seemed better than believing he's always been this way. Maybe I could go talk to him. Her hand rests on the table, and she clenches it into a white-knuckled fist. There's nothing more to say to him. We're finished. I just want to give this back to him and have a clean break. She opens her hand, and a ring clatters onto the table. It was his grandfather's. Even after this, I don't have the heart to sell it off. But if I go back there myself, I know what'll happen. I lose my temper, and I'll probably wind up with another one of these. She points to her bruise. I'll take this ring to Pernish, then. She looks at you and nods. The house is just north of here, but just please don't hurt him. As furious as I am, I don't want that on my conscience. Cool, so I've gained a new side quest, which is hilarious because I already said I was probably not going to do side quests. Well, I'm not seeing anything that's telling us where to go find the Temple of Woedica, so we're going to move on. Alright. These gold-plated things I talked about in the last episode are unique stories that have to do with the backers who gave money on Kickstarter for when Pillars of Eternity was getting funded. Oh, what do you want, kid? Gordy. A young boy watches the passerby and counts a grimy handful of coins. His face and arms are smudged with dirt, but except for the grass stains, his clothes are in good condition. As you approach, he blinks and makes a quick, furtive effort to pocket his coins. Because I'm a firebug, I like. The boy stares at you, his mouth hanging open. After several seconds frozen in silence, he mumbles, your head is on fire. He snaps out of his trance, but continues to watch you with fascination. Hey, mister, want to know a secret? He wipes his nose with his sleeve. I know a real good secret. Careful. I've traveled the continent. The hardest bargains still come from my 7-year-old. Right. I'm sure a squeaky-voiced kid knows amazing things about this city. No, I promise. It's a really good secret. He scampers in front of you and starts talking rapidly. I know this place where people hide things, really special things. If you help me, I promise I'll show you. Help you with what? Gordy's voice suddenly rises in pitch and tempo. The Crucible Knights have been daggers made out of March steel. It's the best steel around except for Durgan steel, which doesn't count because no one make it anymore. He stops long enough to catch his breath. Anyway, there's this merchant over by the expedition hall, and he has a dagger made of real March steel. His eyes grow large and round. He said he wouldn't sell it to me because I'm a kid, and kids don't know anything about daggers. That's not true. I know a lot about daggers. I know the different kinds of steel. I know about the Crucible Knights and how they make them in the forge. I know that the tip can pierce low-gauge scale armor, and that's one good sharp cut can cut through bone. See, I know plenty about daggers, and I really, really want this one. And if you could just get it for me, I promise I'll never, ever ask anyone for anything ever again. March steel. The lad has good taste. I only ever had little shark stickers as a child, mostly for oysters. I still managed to poke a hole through my palm once. Now how am I going to respond? Well, I'm going to get the side quest for this, but I'm probably not going to end up getting it done. Sounds reasonable. I'll get it for you. Gordy jumps up and down, whooping and hollering. I know a real adventurer would understand. He points to a large building. There's a big merchant over by Admith's Den who sells weapons. He's the one with the dagger. I'll wait right here for you. His cap-toothed grin stretches from ear to ear. Cool. And now, I'm going to ignore him forever. Let's see. Reckonberry, Catacombs, First Fires. Let's see. Dalton. This elderly man paces back and forth, taking short, hobbled steps. His gaze is distant, and beneath it are the dark rings of many restless nights. He appears to be having a conversation with someone who isn't there.
And the way you fought, cutting down two at a time. We shared quite a victory, you and I.
Who are you talking to? The man looks up and startled.
Oh, by the flame. For just a moment, I thought I heard her.
He puts a hand on his chest, catching his breath. I see. Well, I must be going. I'll leave it up to you to explore that later. Or perhaps I'll come back. Alright, I want to travel to First Fires. Another region. It's kind of like the main governmental region of the area. Welcome to First Fires. Alright, we have the Ducal Palace, where the Duke supposedly is. The Valian Assembly. Assembly? Wow, apparently I don't know how to read embassy. The Valians are another empire of people. We got Crucible Keep. This is where the Knights of the Crucible are. They're a faction in this city. They're kind of like the unofficial police force of the city, but they're kind of their own military faction. Ooh, look at that. Temple of Woedica. Like I've been here before.
Is this the old church you were looking for?
Why, yes it is. I believe it is. Alright. It's dangerous to go alone. Come with me. I wonder if I have to talk to this guy. I'm sure it's not important.
Praise to the exiled queen. May her crown be restored and her justice prevail. Come to pay your respects to the queen that was.
I was told I'd find the Temple of Woedica here.
And so you did. These savage colonists may have burned it down, but worship of the Oathbinder is alive and well. These stairs lead to the main sanctum.
For those of you who are very excited about Avowed and you've been paying attention to things on, let's say, Reddit about the reveal trailer, this word Oathbinder might stand out to you, considering it was written on the blue sword in the reveal trailer. What stairs?
These stairs, of course. The sanctum was always below ground, adjacent to the catacombs, so it wasn't destroyed by the fires.
Oh, good. Tell me where I can find the entrance to these catacombs.
There are various entrances throughout Defiance Bay, but I dare say the easiest to reach is in Copper Lane. I haven't been to that part of town in ages, but as I recall, it's somewhere near the southern gate.
Hey, that's where I just was. It's truly a pity to see what the locals have done to Woedica's house of worship. Who are you, exactly?
Lord Ardwellen Rugfold III, and pleased to make your acquaintance. I came to the Deerwood on one of the first ships from Adia. And unlike the yokels and hut dwellers around here, I still keep to the old ways.
You know you're a ghost, right?
I beg your pardon? Is this some sort of joke where you come from?
No, I'm serious. Like, just look at yourself.
A madhouse. That's what this town really needs.
Okay. Well, what are you doing?
Worshipping Woedica, the exiled queen and oathbinder. I come every day to offer my devotion. I'd love nothing more than to book passage back to Adia, but it is my emperor's wish that I serve in these barbaric lands. And so I do.
Oh, I'd like to know more about Woedica.
A queen among the gods. She oversees laws and oaths. Everything has a rightful place, and Woedica watches over them all. Of course, not everyone accepts this. Even among the other gods, her authority is questioned. But Woedica is also goddess of memory and vengeance, and she remembers. She'll remember every slight and trespass when she reclaims her throne.
All right, goodbye. Sagani draws up next to you. You all right? Looked almost like you'd lost your footing for a minute. Yeah, happens from time to time. She watches you quietly. You really are a watcher, aren't you? Once in a great many generations, one of my people is born with the ability to speak to souls. Usually, such individuals become elders, or a lone set of tracks in the snow. She cocks her head. I would have thought my journey would have been easier if I could see what you see, but looking at you, I'm not so sure. Neither am I. Believe it or not, I once would have rejoiced to know I'd be picked to travel far in search of something great. But even these gifts come with a cost, don't they? Forgive me if I was a little skeptical of your abilities before. I can't say I've met a real watcher before. Oh, don't worry about him. He just likes doing that from time to time. Seems to cheer him up, so I just let him. Once you've seen it a few times, the shock wears off. Every time he goes a little strange in the face, I try and see if I can hear anything. He kind of grins. It hasn't worked so far. See if you can get him to tell you what the spirit said. All right. I have to find a way into the Temple of Woedica. Through the old catacombs in Copper Lane, which I believe, yes, is where we just were. So I'm just going to click on this. And then watch them move. All right. Go on the trusty map, and this Hall of Revealed Mysteries, School of Scriptures, blah, blah, blah. Catacombs. Alright, here I am in the catacombs. Everyone, keep quiet.
Slow and silent.
What's this? As you approach the dead man, you can feel the faint traces of his soul lingering, a stunned uncertainty holding it in place. When you near, without warning, the soul hurries towards you, as though you were a solitary light in the dank gloom of this place, come to usher it away. Its essence invades your consciousness. You are in a different body now, walking deeper into the catacombs, cloaked in a dark robe with a mask pulled over your face. You're following a familiar path along the canal, heading to a room built around a statue of a figure wearing a robe much like yours. Others await, clothed in hoods and shadows. Ahead is another figure dressed like you, traveling in the same direction. You don't know his name, and that's how it's supposed to be. Out of the darkness, something monstrous grabs the other figure. You turn to flee, but find yourself face to face with a troll. The panic pounding through your brain is interrupted by razor-edged teeth and claws. You snap yourself out of the dead man's memory. The corpse lies on the damp, grimy ground. His hood and mask are missing, and his clothes are shredded. I don't know. Man presumably a member of the Leaden Key. We are pursuing the Leaden Key, after all. Was ambushed on his way through the catacombs. Okay, so this is not just going to be a stroll through the catacombs. Lesser black ooze. You know what? I should probably... Apparently I was resting outside next to a campfire. You know, whatever. Alright. Fun. What do we got here? Ooze plasma. Congealed mass of thick, opaque jelly.
As you wish. Margaren's fire casts light
Ooh, I
in
remember
dark
these.
places.
Memorials. That's right. So for backers of Pillars of Eternity, as I mentioned back when it was in being funded, I believe these are little messages that higher tier backers were able to put on. So Theffords of Wollongong says, "Missing you, MM. Love you more. XXXOOO." And you can go through these and read them if you want. A little bit immersion breaking, but you know, that's still pretty cool. What's this? Avowed. Valune's namesake is a yellow-orange fruit found in Old Valia. These clear gemstones bear a similar yellow-orange color and are often cut like rubies, sapphires, and emeralds. Most of the world's Valune mines have long since dried up, and the stone has become most sought after in recent years. Cool. I'm not going to read every single item I find's description, don't worry. Black ooze. Alright. Ooh, there's two of them.
No prisoner!
Well, thanks for joining my skeleton. Fun. Notice that Durance is getting hit a bunch, so let's put him closer to the back. Oh, Sagani wants to talk to me. Sagani draws up beside you, her fox following at her heels, and takes a seat next to you.
Even if you are putting one over on me, it's nice to have a hunting party again.
Sounds like you've been gone from home a long time.
5 years for me. Must be 30-something for Ichimak.
Hearing his name, the fox looks up.
That must be exhausting.
It's been a long hunt. A long time away from my family. Before, I'd crossed the tundra of Nasitok following caribou herds. I didn't want to leave Kalu and our children, but I was eager to visit lands my people rarely do. But 5 years without finding him. It's like 2 hours of necking. I'm ready to be done with it.
Why do you have to find Pesach?
Soul recovery is an old village tradition. We call it the Tarnek Elite Sok. Once in a generation, we seek the soul of a much respected and long dead village elder. We tell him what's changed in the village, how people remember him. The only other Tarnek Elite Sok during my lifetime happened when I was a girl, not long after Persok died. We feasted on blubber and fermented milk for a week, and we honored the chosen huntress as a hero. Then she left, and we returned to our duties. We still sang her name to the skies during festival season, but we otherwise didn't speak of her.
I'm sure your village still remembers you, Sagani. You're kind to say so, but I'm not so fragile that I need my name chanted in the meeting halls.
It's not being forgotten by my village that troubles me. But sometimes I wonder how my husband and children remember me, if they think of me often.
That must be difficult.
Still, there's no point in dwelling on it. More often I find myself wondering whether Persok will remember us. You claim to see souls. What do you think? Do you remember your past lives?
Yeah, in fragments. Really, what's it like? It's strange. Feels like I'm going crazy most of the time. She sits back. I don't envy you. Guess I'm lucky I only have to worry about someone else's past life.
Makes me wonder what Persak remembers about our village. Or if a turn at the wheel has yanked the details out of his mind like it does for most of us.
What would you tell him about your village?
Masuk is probably much the same as it was 100 years ago. We live between tundra and frozen forests, and the land takes as much as it gives. But our hardships bring us together. And the elders truly unite us. They keep the stories of past generations, and they guide us from season to season, through good years and lean.
Imatak brushes against her hip, and she scratches his head. Recently, there's been a lot of good years. My aunts say we've had fewer clashes with neighboring villages thanks to the hunting territories that Persak helped establish. In bad years, we rely on trade with the merchants that pass our shores. We exchange walrus tusks and seal pelts for grains that last us the hard winters. Persak brokered a lot of those agreements too. She holds up the bear figurine. He got this from one of the Amawa ships that used to trade with us. It sounds like Persak did a lot for you people.
That's what I'm supposed to remind him.
Sounds like you're on a hunt of your own, though. You feeling the thrill of the chase, or ready for this to be over? It's too early to tell. Fair enough. She rises and stretches, looking around. We've got darkness on our side. Shall we move on? Yeah, let's go.
Of course.
Scroll of insect swarm, loon, and copper. Need 4 lore. Don't have enough for it. Older robed man. In front of you looms the ghostly hollow image of the man who was present at your awakening. He casts a pale, sickly light in the dank corridor as he regards you.
You are from Catacombs, my boy.
His words are an echo in your mind from a time long past, and you know your response before you speak it, as if it has always been. Yes, I was born there.
A remarkable city. Truly one of the most impressive we have encountered outside of our own. Many exceptional people who have joined our cause come from Catacombs. What made you decide to join our order?
Your teachings spoke to me.
The gods are just, and they care for their faithful. I think that speaks to many people. Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen?
I am. Oh boy. Half mad. Is that half mage? I can't remember how to pronounce that.
And what does the flame reveal?
The mercenary eyes you warily as you approach, his weapon readied. What are you doing here? You don't look like one of that masked lot. Relax. How would I know to be here if I didn't belong? He thinks carefully, then nods. All right, then. Go in and report to the Acolyte. She'll give you your assignment. They should be just about finished with their meeting in the big chamber. Any idea what's going on around here? A word of advice, friend? Don't ask questions. Just go and do what you're told. Right, farewell. Mercenaries everywhere. All right.
Hail, traveler.
A lone figure paces back and forth, tapping his fingers at his sides, muttering to himself. He jumps when he sees you, his hand on his chest.
By the flame, you startled me.
He pauses and leans forward.
Where's your mask?
That's it. I knew I'd left something at home.
Well, don't let anyone inside see you without. They're keen on anonymity.
Tell me about the meeting.
This must be your first time. The Acolyte communicates with each of us individually to hear our progress on old tasks and assign us new ones.
He shivers with a mixture of pleasure and dread.
It's a unique process. She's a cipher, so she can speak to you without words. Fascinating. Until you realize she could probably read your thoughts just as easily.
What do you know about these tasks? He laughs nervously.
Oh, only when I absolutely need to. We protect the secrets of the gods, so discretion is essential.
He waves a hand between the two of you.
We receive our instructions from the Acolyte just as she receives hers from someone else, and so on, right up to the Grandmaster. Our role is to obey, knowing as little about the overall plan and each other as possible.
I see.
We've been entrusted with important work. It's an honor, but not without its challenges. You need something else? I'll be ready for the Initiates meeting soon, honest.
Can I borrow your hood?
Of course not.
He clutches at the edges as if he'd threaten to rip it off him.
The Acolyte will kill me for sure if I approach her without it.
I promise, I'll bring it right back.
I guess there's no harm. Just don't tell anyone I gave it to you.
Alof leans towards you and mutters between clenched teeth.
You can't be serious.
What are you doing here?
He resumes his pacing. I've been practicing the passphrases. I know them backwards and forwards, but I get so nervous every time I think about repeating them to the Acolyte.
He wrings his hands.
Hey, you can practice on me. Okay.
He ushers in a deep breath with fluttering hands.
Here goes. First question, state your name and purpose. Answer, my name belongs to the gods and my hand to the service. Second question, what company do you seek? Answer, I seek the company of shadows, that our labors may remain secret. Third question, tell me of your labors. Answer, to see that the craft of Kith and Wilder does not disturb what bones the gods have buried. Fourth question, how do we know your purpose? Answer, you shall know it by the confession of my tongue and deeds of my hand and the oath of my soul.
Riddles upon riddles. What bones the gods have buried. It's very dramatic, isn't it? Oh, I'm sorry. Please continue.
Fifth question, and how is your oath guarded? Answer, it is sealed by the leaden key.
He sighs with a nervous chuckle.
Yeah, that wasn't so hard. Sounds like you've got it. I do, I think.
He bites his lip.
I'm just gonna practice a few more times by myself before my meeting. All right, goodbye.
Oh, how wonderful. Exactly the thing I needed to know how to do. I can't put this hood on. Oh, well, maybe I could put it on somebody else. Everyone just act normal. Don't worry about it. If you pretend like you belong somewhere, then you do. Alof falters and brings his hand to his forehead. He takes a staggering step forward, coughing and sputtering.
Back, ye clod! Those hooded fiends are nigh to be trusted!
Elf, pull yourself together. He grimaces, catching his breath. It's nothing. I'm fine. He coughs again. This probably isn't the best place to linger, anyhow. Well, that was upsetting. I'm gonna flute his face. There. Now I feel better. Good. Alright, guys. We gotta be careful, okay? You hear murmurs and chants on the other side of the door. A ritual of some sort is already underway. However, your only means of disguise is presently in use. I can't use the thing. You turn back to the hall. What I'm supposed to do is put that on him. But he can't wear it because his head will literally light it on fire. Oh, well. See what happens. Oh, look at that. Don the hood and mask. You slip the hood and mask over your head. You can smell the fabric starting to burn, but you pat the material atop your head and manage to keep the flames at bay. Delightful. Alright. Continue into the chamber alone or back in the party? Let's go by myself. Several shrouded figures are lined up across from a hooded woman. The figure at the head of the line approaches her, and the woman places her outstretched hand on the figure's forehead. They stand in silent communion as you look on. A few moments later, the stranger steps aside and resumes his place in the circle around the statue. Because I am a godlike, the woman turns towards you. She does a double take at your ill-fitted hood. You're late, attendant. Even though her face is concealed, you sense her rage in her dangerously low voice and in the sudden silence of the others in the chamber.
I've been waiting on your reports. Quickly now. State your name and purpose.
I don't know why I bother tried. Oh, that sounds familiar. My name belongs to the gods and my hand to their service.
What company do you seek?
Oh, I want to say this so bad. I seek the company of shadows, that our labors may remain secret.
Tell me of your labors.
To see the craft of Kith and Wilder does not disturb what bones the gods have buried.
How do we know your purpose?
You shall know it by the confession of my tongue, the deeds of my hand, and the oath on my soul.
And how is your oath guarded?
It is sealed by a Leaden key.
Welcome, attendant. Tell me of your exploits.
In your mind, you see a building magnificent with trellises. Ah, you see a building. Okay. I thought it was like a verb. You see a building magnificent with trellises and tiles and located on a pristine boulevard. The wealthy and learned stroll in and out, trading knowledge and coin.
Does he wait still?
Yes.
Did they arrive?
No.
Your information shall be relayed. Stop him. And above all, don't let him meet her.
The acolyte shows a door in the base of the tower, a seemingly impenetrable slab of stone and copper. But then she shows you the invisible split between the perfectly matched halves, and you understand how the copper veins convert into command into action. The command comes to your mind, a surprisingly familiarity about it. You know how to open the door. I shall. Her hand rests lightly on your head. Have you any questions, attendant? Oh, these are the visions I just saw. I can ask.
Show me the prisoner.
Oh, yeah, that's what I saw before. All right.
Farewell.
Cool.
Right, everybody. We need to get going.
Now, I don't know what happens. Let's find out. Cool. Woo, look at all these new quests we have to do. All right, so we finished Far from the Queen. Delightful. We have the man who waits. The Leaden Key acolyte showed me a vision of an agent in the place of misery and madness. I need to find this agent, discover his or her plan to see if it holds any clues to find the man I'm searching for. So I need to find this place of misery and madness. There's someone here. Perhaps the guards know of it, so I'll talk to one of the guards. Undying heritage. The acolyte showed me a vision of an ancient tower, derelict district of Defiance Bay. There was a strange man in the tower working on some kind of machine. I also saw a woman with a scar over her heart. I don't know where she is, but I suspect that she holds the key to whatever happened there. The Leaden Key was interested in this tower for a reason I need to understand what it does if I want to figure out their plans. So I need to find this tower. I'm asking around the patrolling justiciars to know this, who know the city well. Okay, so talk to more guards. And then through Death's Gate. The acolyte's vision showed me a mysterious ruin somewhere outside Deerford. The Leaden Key has sent operatives to find the site, though their purpose is unknown. Travel to Deerford Village. Okay. Cool. Okay, let's see what happens if I call my party in. Nothing. The steward of Cadnoa has received a letter for you. Speak to the steward. Ah, this is part of the White March DLC. Alright. Cool.
Hey, Ghost Pal, how you doing? Goodbye.
Alright, that may be
A moment, please. I feel I should explain myself.
Yes, Aloth, you ought to.
About my episode in the Catacombs. There's something I should have told you earlier.
That's an understatement. He clasped his hands together, slowly massaging a knuckle with his thumb. I meant no harm. I thought I could keep it to myself. That, when we resolve the matter of your soul, we would also address my problem.
I also have an awakened soul. But unlike yours, mine is a presence that shares my senses and my skin, making herself manifest at the most unwelcome times.
He closes his eyes and grits his teeth. His lips quiver and twitch with the vestiges of some internal debate. Several seconds later, his eyes open again. They're watery and bloodshot.
I'm sorry. I've tried to learn to control Isilmir. I've gotten stronger, but so has she.
Why didn't you say something sooner?
I learned to keep her a secret a very long time ago. Those with awakened souls are shunned, mistrusted. And after your experience with Meerwald, I'm certain you can see why. You need to be careful.
Tell me about Isilmir.
Artless, uncouth, a creature of rash impulses and feeble faculties. She wags her impertinent tongue when she should listen. Aye, this one's fit to boil. Hard to get this gaff over anything tisn't to do with books and spell speak.
He grimaces, running his hands through his hair. I have none of her memories. Bareth spared me that much, but her coarse manners and intolerable hill-speak suggest a provincial from a very, very long time ago. She tends to surface a hair's breadth from conflict when the fuse is burned down and teeth are on edge, and that's when she shows up. She doesn't stop to gauge a situation, she just acts.
This sounds like you could take a few cues from her.
Cues or vulgarisms? He rolls his eyes and crosses his arms over his chest. I've had to live with that hayseed for years. There's nothing to be learned from her. Nothing civilized, anyways. He frowns, looking away. Is this going to be a problem?
Merely an annoyance.
That was me.
Although,
I was supposed to ask if this would be a problem.
Defiance Bay is said to have an entire institution dedicated to the study and cure of soul-related ailments. Since our journeys have already brought us to the city, perhaps we could speak with someone there.
If it's helpful to you, we'll go.
Thank you. This has been a great burden.
Alright, it's time to get moving.
Cool. This is a side quest. This is Aloth's side quest. We're going to try to figure out what's going on with him.
Yes.
Alright. I need to find some guards so that I can figure out where I need to go based off the visions I received just now. Oh, look at this.
What is it? I'm looking for a neighborhood with a tower, near a cemetery.
Best you stop looking then. The place you want is Heritage Hill. You can see the tower over the district walls out that way.
The Justiciar points to the northwest.
But something happened there. They don't let people in anymore, and none of the knights want to be posted anywhere close to it. Steer clear, if you know what's good for you.
Cool. Where are the mad kept in Defiance Bay?
Only place around here that takes in them is Brackenberry Sanitarium.
I've heard they can treat your soul there, take the madness away, but it's just as many stories coming out of that place that chill your blood. There's a man, if you want to call him that, Ethelmore there. He's the head warden. If you visit or checking in yourself, he's the one to talk to. Cool. Farewell. Hey, Aloth, good news. We gotta go to Brackenberry for our main quest anyways. Wonderful. Right. Speak to the head warden of Brackenberry and enter the Tower of Heritage. Cool. Brackenberry. All right.
You're from Gilded Vale? Then you're close to home.
Close can mean a lot of things.
Surely you'll go back when this is all over.
Dunno. Guess that all depends.
All right. Here we are in Brackenberry. Getting ready to... What is it? Speak to the head warden of Brackenberry. So, I'm trying to find that man that at the very start of the game was near that machine that basically awakened my soul when it exploded. And so I am fishing through the Leaden Key and reaching their upper ranks to try to figure out where to go, and a vision that this acolyte gave me told me to come here. So hopefully I'll learn something in this institute. But that is actually all the time that we're going to have for today's episode, so we're going to call it there. Before I sign off, I want to see if we found any books. Because if I get any books or any unique items, I like to read some lore for you guys. But it looks like we don't have anything. This is a magical book. It's not like a lore book. Look if we have anything I can add here. So we'll just read something out of the cyclopedia. Let's see here. We have been... We already talked about Woedica. But let's see here. I've talked about Aethys before as well. Okay. Let us look at Animancy, considering that we are in Brackenberry Sanitarium right now. So this is the lore for Animancy. The science of soul manipulation, a field both controversial and relatively new, banned in some nations like Adir, but permitted in other countries like Deerwood and the Valian Republics. This does not do justice to what Animancy is, but you learn a lot about what it is through the story of the game, which we will go through. Animancy, as I've said, is it's a science, and they say that here, and it's the science of soul manipulation. Essentially, all souls are made up of essence, right? Souls are made up of essence. So if you think of your body as being made of carbon, the soul is made up of essence. And Animancy is the study of essence and how to quantify it and how to manipulate it and et cetera, et cetera. So it's learning about the properties of essence and performing experiments about that kind of stuff. There's a lot of tension around Animancy at this point in time in the world, in this place in the world, because, well, it's one of those things that, like, you're messing with people's souls. So a lot of people are kind of on the fence about whether they think it's a good or bad thing right now. And this will come up a lot within the narrative of the game itself. But yeah. That will be everything for today, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me with this episode, progressing through the story of Pillars of Eternity 1. Join me next time as my character here and my little crew here explore Brackenberry Sanitarium to try to find more answers about this mysterious man who awakened my soul and has potentially doomed me into madness if I don't do something about it. Some vision led me here, so let's see what we find out next time. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. I will see you guys next time.